A correctional officer says she accidentally brought edible marijuana into the women's facility in Ocala, Florida. Holly, Correctional Officer Holly, says she thinks she picked up the package at her home by mistake and that her sister uses edibles. She said she thought she was picking up a snack for work and put it in her bag. How many times have we heard that story? It seems like when corrupt officers get caught bringing in contraband, everything accidentally falls into their bag. We just recently had one a few months back where a female officer brought in some bullets for an inmate, and they must have accidentally fallen into her bag from the back seat of her car. I did a story on that one a while back. These poor folks not paying attention to what they're doing before they go to work, it's really getting them in a lot of trouble. Hi, I'm Gary York, True Prison Stories. Please subscribe if you like this video. I've got a little story here out of Ocala, Florida. A corrections officer from Ocala was arrested a few days ago after she brought edible marijuana into the Florida Women's Reception Center, a women's facility run by the Florida Department of Corrections. Another officer saw this officer, who had just over a year in the business. She's only been employed for a year, Emily K. Holly, right here. She brought in a bag and she had pulled it out, and an officer saw it. She pulled it out of her cargo pocket, and the other officer saw a clear baggie, and she asked Officer Holly, "What's inside the bag?" She replied, "Edibles." So the officer said that Officer Holly then flipped the baggie over and showed her the label. It said pot rocks. She said she wanted to give them to the lieutenant to get high and chill out. Okay. Not only did we accidentally bring them in, but now we show everything to the other officer and tell the other officer she wants to get the lieutenant high and chill out. Do we have a mental issue going on here? You know, red flag, red flag. What is wrong with this person? Now, Florida Department of Corrections, just for everybody to know, does not do a psychological exam. Not that the psychological exam catches everybody, but it does catch a lot of people to give you a red flag and warn us not to hire them. But you know, here in Florida, just about every sheriff's department does a psychological exam, but not the Florida Department of Corrections, because we have to save money. I always say pay me now or pay me later, because now we have this embarrassing article in the newspaper. We have the IG investigation. We have the local sheriff's department having to come. And it's going to happen, folks. We can't stop everyone. We can't catch everyone. The system is not perfect, and it never will be. We can't read people's minds. But I've always said a psychological exam and a polygraph exam for hiring should be implemented in the Florida Department of Corrections. But hey, it's not going to happen. Heck, they barely want to give their officers a pay raise. Okay, I'm not trying to be sarcastic or mean. Truth is the truth. Thank goodness Florida Department of Corrections just got a first decent pay raise in years this year. But you know, do we want to save money in the long run? It's like, you know, getting your car an oil change and a tune-up. It's going to save you on a regular basis. It's going to save you a lot of money in the long run with your repairs on your automobile. But I don't know. Sometimes these agencies don't see things the way a lot of us do. But of course, she was arrested. The local sheriff came over and arrested her and took her to jail. She was read her Miranda rights, and she's been a correctional officer for about a year and a half. And she did not realize the edibles were with her, the edible marijuana, until about an hour into her shift. And that's when she told the other officer she wanted to get the lieutenant high and the lieutenant could chill out. Very strange things some of these folks do. This is a short video. Thought it was kind of worthwhile putting out there on what we bring in sometimes what we hire sometimes. The hiring system is not ever going to be perfect, but I think we could weed out some of these bad apples. Look, I'm not a psychologist, but when you look at this picture of her, those eyes alone kind of look like they're out there. But you can't judge people by the way their eyes look. But if you're in the prison system, that does things to us. 28 and a half years for me in prison. All you that work in the prison system, it warps our minds. That we see things that other people can't see, that aren't in the corrections business because we're around the prisons and jails for so many years, and the inmates. Inmates can spot a crazy person real quick as well. Many times we had a warden arrested for taking the state vehicle at lunch to Saddle Creek down here in Polk County, Florida, and letting male prostitutes do things to him in the state car. And the inmates, when the news report came out and it was in the newspaper, the inmates could go to the library, and they always had a couple of newspapers there for them. And they always said they knew that Warden Koczynski was crazy. They said, couldn't you tell by his eyes? I know that for most people it's like, what are you talking about? You can't judge people by their eyes. I know that. But look, those of you who have worked in the prison system long enough, you know what I'm talking about. The crazy eyes, kind of, you look and say, I don't know about that one. Sorry, folks, it's our warped sense of humor, but lots of times that warped sense of humor and that instinct and that common sense turns out to be the truth. All right, folks, I'll let you go. Thank you very much. True Prison Stories, Gary York.